the Orville brings us Midnight Blue, which sounds like a cheap perfume or something along those lines. The color blue does play a role in the story. But this is yet another follow-up to a previous episode that was a follow-up. This is a follow-up to A Tale of Two Topas. And we revisit the colony of female Mocklins here to check up on them and make sure everything's okay. Well, it seems like it, but then nastiness is afoot. This episode, it started off really good. The comedy was back in and all this stuff, and then you see the relationship is still developing and going on between Topa and Kelly. And right then and there, I began to, wow, what about Bortus and Kelly? Because Kelly essentially has no mommy, so her only female role model, I mean, not Kelly, Topa has no mommy, so her only female role model is Kelly. And through the events here, of course, there's an almost kissy scene where the idea does occur between Bortus and Kelly. But what about poor Ed? You know, because boy, he and Kelly have been getting much closer lately, and boy, what a sad triangle that could be. It reminds me of some other. Oh, that's right, Riker, Worf, and Counselor Troy. Yeah. Well, whatever. However they want to go, but it's a roundabout way. I mean, you would suspect something like this could occur in this situation where Kelly's basically taking the place of mom to Bortus's daughter. So, you know. So anyway, but I mean, good Lord, what a you know, I mean, he's already moved away from his culture and to keep his daughter because it was his daughter. You know, he just instinctively felt bad about this, you know, surgically forcing her to be male and all that. And, you know, and then to push it even further that he would go outside of his race. It'd be something different if he had a romance with one of the Mocklin women. But even that, you know, he grew up in that Mocklin society. So it's, but, you know, space is a strange place. So whatever. But, yes, that does occur. So the comedy and stuff is there. And then it goes back to being serious. And almost some instances it gets a little slow. I mean, they spend an awful lot of time with Topa having a happy little moment. She meets with the other females in the colony, and she likes that. And then the revolutionary leader decides her revolution is more important than the safety of Topa, and entrusts her, wanting to recruit her as a spy that can make use of the communication abilities of the Orville, so that she can rescue more children born female on Mocklin proper, because she has a contact there that's an ally of hers, and so they can spirit the females away and protect them on the colony. Well, that's in violation of the agreement that Mocklin made, and so that's problem number one. Well, of course, the conversation was overheard by some Mocklin guys who kidnapped Topa and bring her to a secret military installation on some barren planet somewhere. And this is where they should have rethought this. I don't know. I mean, maybe some other way to do this, but she's interrogated and tortured. Yeah, I mean, sure, she's in makeup and everything, and she's playing an alien, but still, yeah, you're torturing a child. So, yeah, I'm not too cool with that. The rest of it, of course, Kelly and Bortus, they team up, and then they have their kissy moment. That doesn't happen. They don't kiss, but it's one of those. Are we about to kiss? And then they get interrupted because they got to go do something. So, and they successfully rescue Topa, and boy, Bortus goes completely bestial on the interrogator, and you certainly understand. Kelly says, "Stand down, Bortus," and eventually he does, The interrogator only had one eye because, I don't know, battle scars or whatever. Well, now he doesn't have any. So, and, well, he deserved it, but still. So this put them in the business. This was both Vortis and Kelly shooting on Moclan troops and whatnot. So the Alliance is in a terrible shambles. They're having a meeting at the Union Council, and they're saying, well, we want Vortis' daughter returned, and the Moclan ambassadors are saying, wow, there's no evidence that we had anything to do with it, and all this sort of stuff. And there you have the what's her name, Havina, the leader of the female Moclans, and saying she's already admitted that that she entrusted the child to help her break the agreement and all that, and so on. So there's back and forth on that. The Havina part is interesting. That they've been presenting her as this revolutionary hero, and yet they put her in this position where she eventually comes around, but she put the revolution over the well-being of this child. And Mercer gives her the riot act and everything, and rightfully so. But that is an interesting thing about my cause is more important than anyone else, and that sort of thing, where she's getting a little too full of herself as this revolutionary and that sort of thing, because it wasn't really worth it for what happened. But she has her redemption. The Moclans, they don't get any. Now, I think it would have been better, and with this insider that she has, they did get the name. The interrogator was blinded, but he knows who the apparent traitor is. I don't know if anyone got word to him to get the hell out of there. But the idea that there is one suggests that there's other people within Moclan society that would not, are not so agreeable to what they say is their cultural standard. So he could have had a little more of that. But again, this as a vehicle for preaching about transgenderism, again, doesn't work, because it's the exact opposite. Topa was physically born a girl. They forced her to be male. That's especially when it comes to children. She's not an adult. She had no say-so in this. And a culture, if you will, forced this upon her. You see? Yeah. When it comes to children, no experiments. Don't do that. So, beyond that, with that aspect, I'm sure there'll be people that had problems with it. I had problems with the torture scenes. I understood the plot point of it, but I don't know, maybe there's some other way to handle it or whatever. But they made use of it. They brought her to the council all wounded and everything to make the point of how badly the Moclans had handled this. And so ultimately the Moclans are expelled from the Union. So this puts them in the trouble, because the reason the Union was putting up with this is because they needed to maintain the alliance to have a strong front against the Kalan threat. Well, they've already lost the Krill for similar cultural problems and stuff like that. They've lost the Moclans. They may have gained another society, but they're the sort of the opposite of the Moclans, which I guess, the female Moclans, they get the protection of the Union of their colony, but maybe they should move in with these female society. But I don't know. So they seem to have gained them, but still they've lost two. And all the while, I kept wondering if there's any kind of attempt at this. Maybe they're not doing it. I don't know. And maybe they are. I mean, the next titles of the episodes is Domino and Future Unknown. Now, possibly Future Unknown's referring to, they don't know if they're getting a fourth season or not. But could it possibly be that the Kalons were quietly manipulating all of this? So you've got two worlds now removed from the alliance with the Union. And it's done so with the splits within their societies. Both of them have these factions in there that don't agree with how their society is, which sparks civil war. So if they both go into civil war, the Kalon can come in and after they've had their war, and finish off the winner of the war, divide and conquer and wipe them out, thus denying any possibility of those militaries and their weapons and whatnot to the Union, and then they make their move on what remains of the Union. So Union better be coming up with their own super duper firepower, because they're in a bad position as far as that go. But to set it up that that's what happened, my guess is you'd have to revisit certain background characters that you may not have paid that much attention to, but they were actually Kalan spies, but they were all disguised in the way Isaac is disguised, when they need him to appear human. So maybe they did that. Maybe that's the deal. That'll be a reveal. And then they're left questioning all this stuff we went through. You're going about what you perceive as your values and stuff, and yet it was all used to destroy you, ultimately. I don't know. But then again, they got this Kalan that discovered emotion, so they might use that to ultimately win. But it's one of those things that the Kalan thread is a means by which what Orville needs to decide what it wants to do. I think because when they got it going good, and they got good sci-fi adventure fused with the comedy writing, I thought they had a good thing going. But it allowed for serious things like the Kalan reveal and all that to happen. Here it's kind of the opposite. The comedy is here and there every now and then, but all the serious stuff. I think the initial approach was better. So, overall. But if they're not going to do that, then kind of what they showed when they did the time distortion and stuff in the previous season, that it's even further removed from the Star Trek, architecture, if you will, of their universe. And it gets shattered, again, because the way things are going, it's likely when the Kalan strike back, they're going to win big. So it would be a gutsy thing to do, and the show would be in a different place, and they'd have to come up with other aspects within their narratives that gets further away from how Star Trek has handled itself throughout its many shows. So it's a possibility. I don't know. All of that could not happen at all. They just win in the end. But it's possible that there's a Kalan plot under the surface, and they just don't suspect it yet. But anyway, the previous two episodes I think were better than this one. This didn't put me off too much. It's just, the child torture scene was a bit much. Still, as we're going, Twice in a Lifetime remains the absolute best of this season. But, I had a fun time, except for, but other than that, Bortus always remained if not my favorite, probably my favorite character of the cast, with, I guess, Isaac being, kind of second. And then there's Kelly, because she's so pretty. But other than that, so you hadn't had much of a Bortus episode, and you finally get one here, so that was good. So anyway, there we are with Midnight Blue. And Midnight Blue, was this sort of weird thing that happened at the Moclan female colony, where the Illuminates or whatever, these little glowing lights that flow around. I don't know if they're supposed to be like lightning bugs or whatever, or fireflies, but something like that. And Havina tells Topa that there's all kind of colors, but the rarest of them all is the blue one. And then she sees a blue one, which then lures her to get kidnapped by the Moclans. So wait a minute. Was Havina plotting this too with the Moclans? Is that how that played? Because then if that's the case, she really is, because it was all an act. No, I don't think so. But it wasn't, the blue one wasn't really real. It was a trick by the Moclans to kidnap Topa. Yeah. So there's your Midnight Blue. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see what the next two episodes bring. And hopefully this series didn't shoo anyone away too much. I would like to see another season of this. It's still better than current Star Trek by miles. And so But yeah, there's been some stumbles here, and some of which could piss some people off, and that's unfortunate. But the material you got to work with out of your own imagination is what you got, and sometimes it doesn't always land, and I guess that's just the way it goes. So anyway, we'll see what happens next week.